Welcome, listeners, to this special episode of the Full Send Rejects. I am your host, Kodak,
The other Kodak.
joined by a special guest that you all know well by now, Whiz. We are here to talk about his recent, with a microphone, recent radio interview. For anyone who has been listening to us, he is about to become a featured guest as he comes and shares his dark and twisted stories that he has been sharing on his pages. We also build a website to showcase everything we have to offer. But this is, it's the podcast where you never know what's going to happen next because, fuck, we don't know either.
Yeah, we're kind of merging together and make a Whiz reject baby.
But Whiz, welcome back.
Thank you guys once again. 3 episodes. That's
3 episodes in, yes.
3 episodes. Oh, where's the time go? How's it going, everybody? As Anthony just explained.
It is.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. He explained it all. I have no words.
Well, we thank you for coming back.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And we want to get into this radio interview because I know I haven't personally talked to you about it yet, but I've seen your post. I think, you did message me about it. Life has just been busy and I was fucking sick and shit. But we want to talk about it. So this started with you reaching out to them and them running with it, or am I correct? Am I wrong here? How did this get set up?
A coworker of mine actually knows one of the producers. They're friends because WVIA works in my warehouse building.
Right.
And she's like, "Hey, my friend said she's looking for stories. You write stories?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Can I give you your information?" And in that moment, I said, "Fuck it." I gave her my information, and my coworker texted. Her name is Lisa from WVIA. Took about a few days, but they reached out to me. They called me on Friday. Oh,
If having a coworker telling you, hey, they're looking for stories, you saying fuck it, if that's not saying fucking sending it, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I used my punch hole card on that one for sending it. But no, it was crazy. And I'm at work in my packing station. I'm just listening to music. Actually, no, I was listening to episode 82 or 80 of the recent one.
Oh.
And I heard the shout out, so that got me hyped, excited. I was like, hell yeah, at my station, and everyone's looking at me. I'm like, oh. But then during your podcast, I get a phone call, and it's from a 570 number, and I answer it, and it's Lisa. She's like, "Hi, I'm Lisa. I was passed along your information about writing stories and being a person in the valley that knows a lot. Fine details on that one, but." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I call you back in 10 minutes? I'm actually clocking out soon." She's like, "I don't really have the time. Maybe we can call next week." Let me tell you guys, my inner self, Whiz came out, my alter ego. And I'm like, "No, I was just asking because it's loud machines and stuff, and you can hear me, right?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I have like 5 to 10 minutes, but I want to get more information." So I told her about the Valley Unknown, the complete thing. And I'm talking with her, and I'm walking out, clocking out, and then walking out to my car. I don't remember even clocking out. I was so invested in that phone call. That phone call went from a 5-minute phone call to a 45-minute phone call. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
it was nuts. I told her about the hospital visit, and she originally said, she's like, "Oh, since you do scary stuff, maybe we could do something for Halloween." And I accepted that. But the more I told her about the Valley Unknown, that answer completely changed. Uh, she's like, "You can stop by the office anytime." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to Dorney over the weekend, had fun with family. And then Monday at lunch, I walked in the office like I fucking own the place. I go over to the radio station, and the on-air sign was off. Excuse me. So I knock on the door, and it's Lisa and this other lady, Erica. Erica's been a DJ for NPR radio for like 30 some years. Right. I'm like, "Hi, I'm looking for Lisa." And they're like, "Okay." And then Lisa's like, "I'm Lisa." And then Erica's like, and you are? I'm like, I'm Whiz of the Valley Unknown. I can't tell you, this lady just meeting me for the first time sprung out of her chair and she's like, oh my God, come here. And she gave me a hug. She's like, sit down, sit down. I'm like, what is going on? Okay. And she's like, do you have time right now? I'm like, I'm on a half-hour lunch. I don't really have the time, but I want to just talk and everything. She's like, did you eat? I'm like, yeah, I ate. I'm fine. So then Lisa left the room and it was just her and I. She's like, well, I have to do a segment for my weekly radio broadcast. You can just sit here and chill. She's like, there's a pair of headphones, put them on. You can listen in live broadcast. I can't tell you guys, time went really slow during that lunch period. It was like trying fucking cocaine for the first time. You just got that rush and you're like, whoa, what's happening? Don't
Been there.
induce drugs, children. Don't do it.
This is an anti-narcotic podcast.
Referred to last episode.
Yes, go listen to our last episode about addictions. That's all you need.
It was crazy. And at the end, I told her more about what I do with the Valley Unknown and stuff, and just throwing all my cards on the table. Because thinking to myself, I'm like, I really have nothing else to lose. Oh, excuse me, to lose. And again, I came over my normal self, and I'm like, you're interested in my work? She's like, yes, I read one of your stories, and it's amazing. The wording and the visualization. Erica's like, that's what we're looking for. Okay. She's like, here's my email. I'm like, I will email you ASAP. And I ran out to my car and sent that email. And the rest is history.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
It's a lot. Not gonna lie. It's a lot.
That's
Um,
tremendous.
Leads to my next question. Like, how does it just feel? Because you're about 20 stories in, which is about 5 months, if I have my math correct. And you're here doing a radio interview with the big company. How does that feel? Like, just emotionally, how is that, like, just the excitement? How is that?
it's too much to explain. It really is. Not in a bad way, but the opportunities that just came through the door. For one, the hospital visit was something I can't even imagine anyone else can do. Not saying they can't do it, but I did something out of the ordinary that changed the course of my life going forward. This hospital I had an open mind with. It was a past of me that was haunted by these halls that were empty and just the overcast of the hospital. The hospital is 142 years old. And every time going up that driveway, I get this sense of like something wants me here. You get that high energy. And this all started because I took my siblings up there before the Wing Fest, and I got photos, and that went viral on Facebook. So over the course of 3 weeks, I was emailing back and forth Pittston City Hall. Who the fuck calls Pittston City Hall on a Saturday?
What was that like? Getting with the city, getting with, like, just the local government, just be able to go to the hospital and get your information.
It felt amazing. All the stress that's been happening to me this whole year, everything that's been happening has just dissipated during that moment. And the reason why I called them on a Saturday is because people were starting to say, like, oh, I'm going to go to the hospital. No, I want to go to the hospital. And I'm like, this can't happen. If I want to get that story, I got to be the first to jump on it. And I'm like, crap, they open up on Monday. I called them at Saturday at 6 p.m. I left a message, very detailed. And by Monday morning, I had 2 missed calls from them. I picked up the phone call. And originally, her name is Shannon Benaki, but originally she said, you can't really access the hospital. It's a liability issue. We get break-ins all the time. And I accepted that. She's like, I have some photos that I could send to you. So I gave her my email and we went back and forth. She sent the photos and I told her they're amazing. I love the details, like a lengthy paragraph of an email. But my dumbass didn't read the top of the email. Because other than her saying, here's some photos you can check out, she's like, maybe we could set something up down the road. So I emailed her back right away. So
Gotta read
fast.
that fine print.
Hmm?
Gotta read that fine print.
Or the top line.
So I emailed her back and I'm like, if there's any chance in the future, let me know. I'm highly interested. She's like, what is your purpose there? I'm like, I wanted to have closure in my life. I had experience there 12 years ago, a paranormal one. I'm like, there's skeptics and non-believers, but this is something that draws me to that building. It has a dark heart and a long history. And I explained else, I'm like, I want to do my first piece of journalism there. I want to take this story and just show everyone that this building still exists. So, hold on a second, guys.
Hey, kid. Okay, so he will be right back. He is, kids, as we all do, and well, not all, but responsibilities.
They happen.
But I still do my
It's-
responsibilities and have fun at the same time.
Exactly. That's how you parent right there, you know?
Parenting done right.
Where did I leave off? So I emailed her back, and then a lady named Kristen emailed me from the Pittston Redevelopment Authority. And long story short, same thing as Shannon, emailing back and forth. And she's like, maybe we can do something a few weeks out. I'll have to get in contact with my coordinator and I forgot what it was, council officer. I'm like, okay, this is great. We're communicating. And over the course of 3 weeks, it built up. And then it happened. We had a date, August 13th. And I took off of work and we are supposed to meet up at 9 o'clock in the morning. This tour was from 9 to 12.
That's a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy time being there. So they ended up making me sign a liability waiver just in case I get hurt. And then I asked them, I'm like, how far does this liability waiver go? And they're like, what do you mean? Because I'm going to look through stuff in there.
You
They're like,
gotta
okay.
fucking, dive into it.
They're like, okay. I went in there with no mask and no gloves. I think I might have a tiny bit of radiation, just a tiny bit, but I'm fine.
You raw dogged
Listen,
it.
you got the spectral tumor in there, all right? That's its fucking keeper.
So we after signing the liability waiver, we go to the first floor, basement, first floor, however you want to call it. And they took out this key ring that said hospital, and it was all the keys to the hospital. And they tried every single one, and none of them were working. Now, for context, the hospital doors had a chain with a padlock on them. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I accepted that because they're like, oh, maybe we can come back another time. I'm like, that's fine. Thank you for letting me be here anyways. We already had the waiver signed. And then the council officer's like, actually, I got a guy that could come up right now. I'm like, what do you mean you got a guy that could come up right now? He's like, he's the groundskeeper up here. He knows the building inside out. Maybe he can help us with the tour. I'm like, okay. So 5 minutes pass.
That's just
And
fate right there.
That's clutch.
yeah, that's crazy. This guy pulls up in like a Ford F-150. This dude is as tall as Kane and looks like Ron Perlman all at the same time.
Fucking Thanos out here. Wait, is that Ron Perlman? Thanos?
This dude had a shirt cut, like tank top, jean shorts, and he's like, give me 1 second. So he's like, I got flashlights for you guys. You need something in there. And then he's like, let me go in the back of my truck. He pulls out a Milwaukee grinder wheel. I look at him like, this is not fucking happening. He walks over to the door. And let me tell you both. And then the chain just goes. I'm like, no fucking way.
It's
And so we enter the basement, and it's just a first floor. There's a medicine cabinet, there's a bunch of closet doors. I open up this one door, and there's a sign that says, what are you looking at? I'm like, okay. So I close the door slowly. We come to the two corridors, and to your right was a long corridor, and at the end of it was two ambulance doors that were chained and locked. So there's a bunch of offices and doctor rooms down there. I think there's like a pediatric or something down there at the time. But this whole building was stuck in place. You can hear a pin drop throughout the whole hospital. I can tell you I had no
Creepy.
fear walking in there, but my energy was very, very high. I was alert. I was looking behind my back.
The
You
Yeah.
know, it was something to really take in, and was also where was the power was on. Okay. I like, okay. You know? So we walk down the hallway
Yeah.
and there's nothing, and then we go down to the opposite corridor where it was literally pitch black. So I'm walking through with the flashlight, I'm looking in the rooms, and there's, like, some wheelchairs and, like, some cabinets and stuff, and then I get the smell of sulfur,
Oh
and
boy.
I
Ooh, got those rotten eggs.
right? I asked the guy, I'm like, "What's this room?" He's like, "This is the morgatory." I'm like, "No shit." So I walk in there, and first thing I do is I go over to a cabinet, I start opening up all the cabinets, start looking in, I'm touching the marble table where there's bodies, you know, just going balls to the wall like a kid in a candy store. And then we're like, "Okay, we're gonna go up the second floor." So we climb an old, like, Victorian staircase up the second floor, and I see it, the nurse's station, and I froze. I had major deja vu. I basically saw the past life of that hospital. I saw people moving around. I saw people doing their daily activities. Like a high visualization, and I put my back up against the elevator. Originally, how I did 12 years ago, and they're like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "You guys can go on. I just need a moment." So then I collect myself, and I go check out the nurse's station and the daycare and the waiting room, and there's pictures and just everything all over the floor. Like everybody said, "Fuck it, we're locking it," and just left everything behind. I found a photo of the hospital staff from 1915. Like it was nuts. It was something like, I'm really here and I'm doing this. There's no way I'm doing this. And then I found a children's room that had 333 on it, and the other door had 333. So I added them up. I'm like, yeah, fuck no.
Yeah, no, that's a big NO for me.
So
Yeah.
we go down the opposite corridor north from the nurse's station, and there's a pharmacy, and there's a closet with a medicine cabinet. So I'm looking through this little medicine cabinet, and I see a brown vial in the back. I'm like, No way someone forgot this." So I take my shirt and I just reach in there, stretching the fabric, and I grabbed it, and it had, like, this hospital name on it, like a hospital version of whatever medicine this was. I do a quick search on Google. It was morphine. That's what it was.
That's fucking awesome.
Fucking fantastic.
So we do a SEAL Team 6 sweep through second floor, you know, and there's also, like, there's a bunch of waiting rooms in the back, and, like, not waiting rooms, but sunrooms and stuff, and then we go up the 3rd floor, and there was some old medical equipment, like a table and everything, and the table had bloodstains on it, and it was no. I'm getting chills just talking about it. There was rooms with just gurneys and just all this type of medical equipment and an incubator, and there was hospital records and just everything. So I asked one of the people from the city council, I'm like, "Does HIPAA still apply 40 years later?" She's like, "Why?" Because I'm like, "I found a bunch of patient records."
Excellent.
We did the 3rd floor sweep. There was really nothing much. There was more like furniture and old equipment and, like, rooms and stuff. And then we get up to 4th floor. Now, before we went to 4th floor, our tour guide, fake name John, he was like, "Oh, I've been here a month ago and the 4th floor was inaccessible. Someone locked the door." I'm like, "Okay." So we were walking back down, and then one of the people looked up and they're like, "Oh, 4th floor is open." And tour guide's like, "Guys want to go?" I'm like, "We have time." So we walked up the 4th floor. Same layout throughout this whole hospital, by the way. It's just two long fucking corridors, like 2 football fields worth. That was a crazy floor. That was patient rooms. That was another waiting room. And then I'm walking through the middle of the corridor, and the tour guide's like, "Hey, you were looking for this person, right?" I'm like, "Is this it?" He's like, "Yep." He's like, "You want to enter first?" So I walk up to this giant cherry wood door, right? And it had like a marking in it from, like, where a cross was hanging, and there was this iron door handle, And when I went to go reach for the handle, I felt the draft. So I asked the tour guide about it. He's like, all the windows are closed. I'm like, there shouldn't be a deep draft coming from that door. So everyone gathered up and I opened the door and I walked in Miss Tinsley's office for the first time. The nurse that I seen 12 years ago wearing a Red Cross outfit from like the 1940s era, I saw for the first time.
And how was that experience?
I felt she was there, and anybody can call me out on this. That was probably just no. I felt her there, but then I felt her leave. She knew we were in her safe haven, and she accepted us in her safe haven. And
So,
her
real quick, for the listeners, you keep mentioning this prior experience of yours. For those who haven't
yeah.
heard yet, would
Can
you
you
like
hear
to
me?
go?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Cut out a little bit. We're good.
It's all right. Hey, we deal with it. We move forward. What I'm saying is, would you like to,
Elaborate.
yeah, elaborate to our listeners for those who aren't aware what this experience of yours you keep mentioning or referring to, what that experience was?
12 years ago, I went to go visit the hospital. There was a daycare up there. And my aunt wanted me to go with her because she didn't want to drive alone, and I accepted that. It was for my cousin, he was, like, 5 at the time. So, we go to this hospital, and like I said before, it's just a one way in, one way out. There's 2 buildings, very old buildings with a lot of history, and there's also a mine shaft below it called the Knox Mine. And the Knox Mine had a disaster in 1959, and it killed 81 people. So, there was a nurse named Miss Tinsley. She was the head nurse for 50 years at that hospital. She was born in 1905. Hold on a second, guys.
You're good. Hey, you do what you got to do. All right. And we'll keep the show going with this impromptu break. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da.
I mean, if any listeners have any spooky stories that they would like to share with us, you can always hit us up on our socials or hit up Whiz to see if he would actually write a story about your actual haunting experience.
You did for the Ashland house.
Yeah, he did that with us, the Ashland House. So any listeners who are listening and they want to hit up Whiz for any kind of paranormal,
We want the spooky.
yeah, any paranormal activities that you have ever experienced, you can always hit him up on the socials to share your story, and he can make it into a short story.
Well, I guess I gotta buy Spotify Premium because I just got a 30-second ad.
Oh yeah.
Nice plug-in though. That was awesome. So back to what I was saying. Miss Tinsley trained nurses over the course of 40 years. Every graduating class before Geisinger took over the valley, the Pittston Hospital is one of the most popular. And a lot of nurses spread out during World War II and everything else. And Miss Tinley had a high reputation. She was that nurse. People were scared of her, but she knew her shit. And I have high respect for her. So going back 12 years ago, we finished up the meeting with the daycare and we're walking out the first floor. And I'm helping my aunt put in her wheelchair in her minivan at the time. And I just look at the hospital, just one last glance. This building's cool. I'm intrigued. And then I saw her, the fourth floor, second window. She was looking at me, and I could see her full Red Cross outfit. She's actually developed the Red Cross chapter at Pittston.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of credentials. She has receipts.
You cast those receipts in.
Yeah.
And all sound got blocked out, and I was just mesmerized by her figure. And then I asked my aunt, I'm like, hey, someone's up on fourth floor. And my aunt's like, that's impossible. Fourth floor is inaccessible. I'm like, we can go now.
Yeah, we're good. Let's just get out of here. I'm good.
We're good. I sat the whole car ride home silent. I did history at the time. This was 2012, so the internet wasn't really that good at the time still. So searching for shit is like going through the Library of Congress. It's there, you just gotta find it. Flash forwarding 7 years, I was going on a haunted night with my friends. It was like 12 o'clock in the morning. We went to Coxton Road. We went try to find the old Scranton Asylum up on top of the hill, like near Kaiser Ave.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another campfire story for another episode. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're about to go home. I'm like, hey, do you want to stop at one more spot? And they're like, what spot do you mean? I'm like, let's go to the old Pittston Hospital. So I explained my story, like I wrote my story number 4 and told many people, which they love it. And it's great. The feedback overall, the past few weeks have been amazing. So we come around the driveway to the front of the hospital, and I stick myself out the window and I take a picture. And the first picture, my camera glitched out.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't know.
Yeah. So I take a second one and I saw her. She was in the same window with the white Red Cross outfit, and she was looking at me, and everyone freaked the fuck out.
Dun dun dun.
Burp, burp.
Listen, this is a wacky episode, okay? I'm doing this because it's just fun. Knock it off, you.
Yes.
Another special guest, my kid. So we left the hospital, and everyone was freaking out. And then jump forward in time to 2024. I'm back at the beginning of what I just told everyone, going through the hospital for the last person being allowed from the public in that hospital and getting my final closure and taking the Valley Unknown from something that started as a hobby to something now that's going to be on NPR radio. In the span, like Kodak said, in the span of 5 to 6 months. But it's not just me that did the work. It's not just me that pushed myself. It's all the support I have from new people in my life, like you guys, to my family, my friends, my coworkers. I can't stop talking about it. I told someone because they got mad. They're like, "Dude, you've been talking about it for 5 days." I'm like, "All right, you be in my position, bitch."
I
Like,
mean, yeah, it's every like
this
little
is something that changed
it's
my
just
life. And I like to mention, I did talk to Kodak before we started this call. I sent him a photo of the first message that he sent me. And that was my bob and sinker right there. That was me getting hooked because I never done a podcast before. I'm going to be honest. It was a new format for me. You can go listen back. The quality's kind of shit because I have the microphone up my ass. That changed my life. And now this is taking the next chapter of my life. And the friends I've made, I will always be grateful for. And I will always be grateful for you guys. No matter how big we get, no matter how far we go, we all know where we started. And that is cemented throughout this whole entire journey. I came out of my shell because of this podcast. I was not scared of what's happening in the world around me. For a good moment, that's still continuing. Everything I've been wanting to do has been completed, and I feel better about myself. Not to really mention this, but I'm quitting smoking.
Hey,
I
there you
can't.
go. Fucking achievement right there.
That is.
I can't. I
From an
don't want to do it
episode
anymore.
about addictions to quitting smoking. There we go.
I'm spending more money on vapes and stuff, and it's just I need to step back. And the
Oh,
Valley Unknown is my safe. The Valley Unknown is my safe space. I don't know what's going to happen during the interview. Nothing bad, but it's a lot to take in going from a podcast to actual national broadcast radio. I'm going to have to turn on my phone on Do Not Disturb because it's most likely going to blow up. And I'm being honest. There's no if anymore with the Valley Unknown. There is when and now. And I've been fucking sending it since March. And
well, we are happy to be just a part of this journey with you to just see you grow as far as your potential will take you.
it it will never stop.
I mean,
Other thing I
we-
would like to say is I have a very high chance of writing this book too.
Yeah, for our listeners, first episode, what was it,
Because
25
I was
stories?
talking with Lisa. I told her about my book idea. She's like, we can make it happen.
oh,
Run that by me again.
So you said
Huh?
25 stories, you're going to do it, right?
You know, it's something to look forward to. And when this book is finished, I can look back at it like this is the greatest moment of my life. My son was the first one. This is the second one. And no matter where I go, if I fall down, I always get back up.
That's what you got to do.
It's like I said before, words cannot describe. And I know you guys are proud of me, and I do appreciate it. And it's like a good feeling to have people to say like, "Hey, I knew you from story 5," and it's just it's nuts. That's my new word is nuts
It's nuts. Hashtag it's
because it
nuts.
is. There's no what was that? Sorry.
I said hashtag it's nuts.
Hashtag it's nuts.
It's nuts 2024.
And this was a wacky episode tonight, and I'm happy it's finally like you can do more. Don't worry.
Yes, for our listeners, we know this is a shorter episode, but as we mentioned in previous episodes, we're going to be bringing M.Wiz to reshare his stories with us. We are currently working on a website. We're on the alpha stage for the Cryptid Productions website, which will feature all of our episodes, all of our stories, all of our updates that is in production. Right now, the website is up, but it's only accessible by invite link, you know. So if you are curious about it, send us a message. We can get you a link. We would appreciate the feedback to see what we can improve on. But this is going to be many more episodes with M.Wiz. Did we lose him? Or am I
No,
just
I'm still here.
no.
I'm just listening.
Okay, I'm just monologuing. Okay, making sure. Listen, calls sometimes get funky. Just want to make sure.
Can you
But
hear me now? Good.
yeah, we can hear you fine. But we're constantly trying to improve on our product, both of our products. We're joining with each other to make crypto productions. Honestly, having a third party with more content to bring to our production slash website. But is there anything else you would like our listeners to know?
Fasten your seat. Bolchek
Your
Reflex are bringing the heat.
Full send. This is nuts. Fasten your seatbelts.
2024.
2024. That's gonna be a new bumper sticker for me now.
It's just nuts 2024.
I raise a glass to Full Send Rejects, Cryptic Production, and the Valley Unknown, and also Cole County Media.
Yes,
If you're
that is
listening to
the
this episode, your episode was great. I have an open mind more on psychedelics. Very informative. It's favorited. So congratulations to you guys on your success and everyone else's uprising, I should say.
We'll make
Absolutely.
sure to tag him in the upload.
I'll message him right now.
And
Well, no,
really,
because
if you're listening to- Oh, what? Go ahead.
he started his, and for our listeners who haven't caught the recent episode where we talk about psychedelics, it is that guest, Cooney, who came on, discussed it. He has his, as we just mentioned, Cole County on YouTube. He does a lot of outside videos, psychedelics, talking about it. Great content. Please go follow it. Please go follow the Valley Unknown on Facebook and follow us as well on our social medias, the Full Send Rejects, because hopefully soon we will have this website out to where all this amazing content will be out, and not only just content, but it will provide more interaction with you, the fans, to give us ideas and just what you guys want to hear and listen to.
Look at us going places.
We're adults.
We're doing our best by getting by with bullshit.
Dude, it is my whole mindset where there's no reason, with all these fucking places out there, there's high production, there's no reason anybody should listen to us. And it's for that factor, every single listener that does, I am so appreciative of.
Yeah, take that, trauma.
Important
Take that,
feedback
Santa.
is your key to success.
Take that, Dad. I did do something with my life.
I told my dad that the other day.
That's fucking awesome.
Fantastic.
Uh, One last thing I'd like to mention, Billy, if you're listening to this too, I can't wait to meet you. You do not understand the power of my stories, and I hope you're buckled up for that too.
So you're
It's gonna be fun.
buckle the fuck up for what we're all bringing next,
Uh,
especially Anthem Wiz, the Valley Unknown.
Well, you'll meet Billy next weekend.
Oh yeah, at the party.
yeah. Oh, the party. Oh, I want to tell you guys my costume, but I don't. Oh, I'm gonna say it anyways. Fuck it. I'm going as Merlin the Wizard.
What was that?
Merlin the Wizard from Shrek 3.
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
good one. That's
That
different.
is a good one.
We haven't heard anyone talk about that yet. Oh my god, I can fucking
Shrek. It's
see it.
Shrek the Third, right? Shrek the Third.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
that's so
underrated one.
it's like another relative.
Yeah, when it's like the Lancelot and Arthur crossover. No, a lot of people haven't seen that one, so good on you,
That's a
sir.
good one. I like that.
Thank
And
you.
just remember, at these parties, the island is the best place to be.
I gotta get my boarding pass for the island. They said first class is less expensive, so I'll have to see.
Oh, you can. You
Hey,
definitely
whatever
go to-
seat you want to get, you'll be fine. All right.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, that's right. Oh lord.
The island is just an amazing place, and 100% satisfaction rate.
Our safe word is waffles.
There's no say.
There's no safe word.
Whatever happens, happens. It's you have your choice of staying or leaving. Okay.
We have so many people who haven't yet to experience you or in the island, so I feel like I have to create some kind
No,
of
no, no,
safe
no, no,
word.
no. Babe, listen. This isn't Epstein's Island. All right. There are ways to get out. You have the
Oh
choice.
my god. The one-way ticket to Ellen DeGeneres special.
It's all listen. It's all consensual, and you can leave at any time. Okay.
Remember the
all
last
consensual?
water?
That. Well, come on.
There was somebody who was intoxicated at his graduation party, and I gave him water to kind of calm the fuck down because he was a little intoxicated. Anthony walks over and slaps the water bottle out of his hand and says, "No, no, not in my house, bitch. You're gonna
Broke
drink.
house.
You're gonna drink this beer like a man."
I'm perfectly fine, but fair warning, if I see or look at Jim Beam, it's everyone has that one alcohol that makes them go, you know, that's Jim Beam.
Well, listen. Here, the only thing is, it's bring your own beer. We have the liquor and food,
I'm making cookies.
and there is a wide variety of liquor here. So don't worry.
Well, thank God I have a babysitter that night.
Did you catch what I threw down there?
What?
There will be snacks
Oh.
of a certain kind.
I'll be making cookies.
Ooh, I did catch that. ADHD kicking a little bit, but maybe the radiation from the hospital. I don't know.
Either or.
Either
Yeah.
or.
He goes, I prefer to be shaken and not stirred.
Listen, either or steers the boat. Okay.
Well, you're about to be on an autopilot.
Your boat's going to be tipping over. All right. So that's the only warning.
You guys will live like 1912.
Yep, pretty much. You're gonna go down with your own ship.
Fuck, next time we have a fucking Titanic party.
Oh my god, can you imagine everybody? Can I be the lower class? Because I want to like put on she shanties and just start dancing.
Well, I'm the Irish asshole. I
Oh,
belong.
where's the door? Oh man, we forgot the door.
No, I think the next like theme party I'd like to do
What a
is like,
wild time. But yes, the interview should be happening soon,
Harry Potter.
and I'm prepared. I really am.
Good.
This is something that I always wanted to happen, and now that it is happening, the next few months are going to change me.
Absolutely.
Well, we're here for the ride.
Of course. It's where I started. It's my home away from home being on this podcast.
Well, it is definitely nice having you on, sharing the stories, sharing your updates, and as soon as we get Billy back on here, doing the stories,
Yeah, I can't wait to start reading the stories.
everything's looking up Millhouse.
Oh yeah.
Just a big thumbs up. Yep, we're good. But it's not. One last thing I like to say though, it's not that WBA reached out to me. It's the opportunities I've been having. It's just all over, and I have my mind focused on where I want to be and what I want to do, and that's my end goal. That's my end game. Because the Valley Unknown will be on shelves, and it will be a book. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'm not just doing a normal novel. If this book thing actually goes through, I'm doing it from my own personality and my own crazy mind. I want to do a pop-up book because people always tell me my photos give visualizations of the story. So I'm like, why not just interpret that into a pop-up book?
Shit, that's a good idea. Because
Yeah.
usually when you think of books, it's like kids' books, but like an actual like horror themed pop-up book.
That'd be pretty dope.
That would
A
be
horror,
sick.
like a paranormal pop-up book.
Yeah.
Or a pull
Kind
tab book, one of the two.
it kind of gives me like
What we gotta do, we got get like the first couple are pull tabs, so like the person's in control, and like 4 or 5 in, boom, random one.
Jack in the Box PTSD though.
Yeah.
You never know when it's when it's going to come up.
You're flinching away, just opening it slowly.
I do that with freaking the biscuits. I can't open
No,
those
you had me
bitches.
do it.
Yeah, because I can't. It's
You give the biscuits to the guy with PTSD from things going loud out of nowhere.
I was about to say, it's like you chugging a potato masher from World War One. It's just
Oh man,
yeet.
that's fucking fantastic.
I have trauma.
Oh, that's the best laugh I had all night.
That's fantastic. All right, so
Uh,
before we finish off,
yeah,
is there anything else you want to share?
this is great.
Well, this is
Well,
great. This is nuts. Everyone, fasten your seatbelts and
see.
be like Whiz here, going for these radio views and progressing himself. Be like that. Full fucking send it.
Bull.
Full send it. It's full send it. Doesn't matter if you break down, you build back up, and you just full send. Because without full sending, I would be stuck at story one.
And you never want to be stuck with your first story. Keep pushing.
Yep. It's been a hell of a summer going places. I put more miles on my car than anything this summer. It was great. And my car passed full inspection. Hell yeah, I was taking it somewhere.
I love it. This is a fucking perfect ending.